another one of our virtual nutrition talks. I don't know if I just cut in, but hi, Carly Jurek. Excited to have you guys here. A few housekeeping things real quick. So everybody has been put on mute, so we don't have any crazy background noise. But then if you guys, we definitely encourage questions. We love talking about nutrition for me and then fitness for Katie. I know I've talked to her lots about it, so she's got a lot of passion. And so if you guys do have any questions, please just leave it in the chat box. That'll be on your little drop-down screen. Type that question in and we will address all questions at the end. And I hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, everybody is going to be on mute for the entire presentation. Dietitian and the Senior Wellness Coordinator for the BP Westlake 1 in Houston. I've been doing these presentations with the Fitness Center for a couple months now, and I really enjoy them. And I love just sharing lots of information for you guys and help you guys make better choices, especially as you guys are working from home. So that being said, we'll go ahead and jump right on in. I'm going to turn my camera off. Going to share my screen and we'll get started. Get my little, okay. All right, so we're gonna be talking about nutrition to boost your brain power. A lot of times people think that your diet actually really doesn't play a role in things like your cognitive function, your memory, and then just overall how your brain works. And that's not actually the case. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about that and going over that. So we'll go to the next slide. So really briefly, the brain is a really complex organ in the body. It controls all of your body's functions. It initiates movement, it helps control behavior, it controls intelligence, it translates the sense signals. So when you smell something, your brain is what translates that. When you feel something, it translates that into all those different reactions and those signals. And there's countless different diseases that affect the brain. So anything from a stroke or an aneurysm, which is basically a burst vessel in your brain, to dementia, to Alzheimer's, to ADHD. There's a huge plethora of diseases associated with the brain. But really for this one, we're going to be talking mostly about things to help with memory, cognition, things like that. And we'll focus mostly on that for this presentation. And it's really important to know that just like fueling a car, you really want to fuel your mind and your body with good quality foods to support your brain. You know, you're not going to use really low grade fuel in your car because you want it to run efficiently, you want it to run for a long time. And so it's kind of the same concept with your body. We want to make sure that we're fueling it appropriately and that it has the right fuel for it to function at its maximum. So when you're eating for your brain, probably for this presentation, what we'll do is, this is a really broad topic, and so I'm going to keep it a little bit general and tell you one of the best, I guess, diet patterns for you to eat for overall brain health. And then we'll jump into foods that have been proven to have a lot of benefits for your brain. So to start, we'll start with the diet pattern that they recommend for just overall better brain health. And the National Institutes of Health recommends following the Mediterranean diet pattern to have optimum brain function. And I've cited the study that they're referring to that they used to draw this conclusion. But basically, they went in and did a really large observational study, and they found that those with the highest adherence to the Mediterranean diet had slower cognitive decline. And so what they mean by highest adherence is that basically the people who followed the Mediterranean diet and the Mediterranean way of eating the most, 7 days a week versus 5 days a week, had the highest benefit for that they had slower cognitive decline. But then they also found that the ApoE gene, that's been a gene that's been identified to have a really strong link to Alzheimer's disease. And so those who followed the Mediterranean diet had very similar cognitive function compared to those who did not have the gene. So basically what it's saying is that those who followed the Mediterranean diet and did have the ApoE gene and that higher risk for Alzheimer's, if they were following the Mediterranean diet, they actually found that they had similar cognitive function compared to those who did not have the gene. And they did release a really large statement indicating that the Mediterranean diet was the best diet to eat for your brain health. And I have this asterisk down here because a lot of people might ask about the MIND diet or the DASH diet. Those two diets and the Mediterranean diet, those are very, very similar. So you will see times when people say that the MIND diet is a really good diet for eating for your brain. And they're going to be very, very similar to the Mediterranean diet. So just keep that in mind if you do see any articles or headlines that mention that, that they are very similar. They do have a few differences, but that they can be very much the same. And so what does the Mediterranean diet look like? It is a diet basically that has looked, they have looked at the region around the Mediterranean Sea and all those countries, and they have a very similar diet. And that diet is normally very high in fruits and vegetables. They use a lot of olive oil. They eat moderate consumption of protein. They eat a lot of fish and seafood. And so the Mediterranean diet is really just focused on that. It's mostly fruits and vegetables, whole grains, seafood, and then occasionally eating things like chicken and beef and those red meats. And then wine and alcohol are consumed in a moderate or a lower amount. And if you guys are interested in learning more in the Mediterranean diet, I won't spend a lot of time talking about it. But this graphic I have here on the right is from a website or an organization called Old Ways. And they are a group that is sole purpose is to promote the Mediterranean diet. So they have a lot of really great resources on their website. If you guys are interested in learning more about the Mediterranean diet, that would be a really great place to look. Okay, so we'll hop in. Ooh, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. We'll hop into foods that have been linked to promoting your brain, a healthier brain. So the first is pretty common. So fatty fish. So fish like salmon, tuna, trout, all those fish that are really high in omega-3 fatty acids are going to be a really good food for your brain. The reason is that your brain is 60% made of fat, and over half of that 60% is the omega-3 fatty acids. So, you know, why not fuel your brain and give it more of those fatty acids when it's already made up of so much of it? And then these fats have been found to help build up nerve cells and are essential for learning and memory. So even I give my young 19-month-old son, I give him lots of things that are really high in omega-3, because not only is it good to help prolong mental capabilities and cognition, but it's also really beneficial for those who are building their brain and learning so quickly, like small children or toddlers. And you don't necessarily have to do fatty fish. You could also do things like chia seeds, flax seeds, nuts and seeds are going to be a really good source of those omega-3 fatty acids. But that's one of the most powerful foods that you can eat to promote better brain health. Okay, and then the next one is actually going to be eggs. A lot of people are kind of surprised by that, especially with the you know, the old recommendation to limit eggs because of the cholesterol in them. And that is actually no longer a recommendation. And they are in the process of doing the 2020 dietary guidelines. They're currently reviewing them, and then they'll be released here in a couple months. And one of the foods that they're actually recommending for toddlers, pregnant women, or young kids for brain development is eggs, because of the high choline content. Choline is really important for brain development, but then it also helps create the neurotransmitter acetylcholine and can help improve your mood and your memory. So those neurotransmitters are essentially how your brain communicates with the rest of the body. So if you're gonna create more of those, it actually helps make your body a lot more productive. And so it can be really beneficial. And so eggs are a great thing to be eating for young kids, but then also if you're looking to just support your brain. Okay, the next thing, or the next food, is blueberries. So blueberries are packed with antioxidants, and it's packed with an antioxidant called anthocyanin, which has been linked to cognitive function, to help improve cognitive function, and then also fight depression. And one study found that blueberries help improve motor function and reverse short-term memory loss. And this has been a pretty established thing, that blueberries are really great for brain health. And so I always tell people, if you want to help fight off Alzheimer's or dementias, eating a cup of blueberries a day is a great option. And then I wanted to give you guys an idea of what an antioxidant actually did. So these graphics at the bottom is a really rudimentary explanation of why those are so important in your diet. So you have a normal cell, and then external factors called free radicals come in and attack your cell. And then what it does is it actually removes an electron from that cell, and it causes that cell to be unstable, and it causes what's called oxidative stress. And that oxidative stress has been linked to so many different chronic diseases. So the more that you have those cells in your body, the more likely you are to develop those diseases later down the road. So what an antioxidant does is if you eat it or consume it or take it through a supplement, is it comes into the body, it donates that electron to that free radical that's missing the electron. And then once it donates that electron, that molecule then becomes stable again. And so that's why you always hear people talking about antioxidants in fruits or vegetables or in foods, and why they're so important is it's going to help stabilize those cells and help fight off chronic diseases and oxidative stress. All right, so our next food is turmeric. You guys might have heard of this one or be familiar with it. It's become really popular in the last couple years. But basically what it is it's a really bright yellow spice. If you own any kind of curry blends or a yellow curry, what gives it that really yellow color is coming from turmeric. And the active ingredient in turmeric is curcumin. And curcumin can pass the blood-brain barrier and directly impact your brain cells. So your brain, one of the ways that it has for protecting itself is that blood-brain barrier. And very, very few things can pass through that barrier, but that's one of its internal mechanisms to protect itself. But if that curcumin passes through the blood-brain barrier, it can actually have really positive impacts on your brain function and your brain cells and how they're going and how they're doing. And a study actually found that taking curcumin or turmeric supplementation actually helped improve memory in patients with Alzheimer's because it helped remove amyloid plaque. So amyloid plaque is a marker for Alzheimer's. It's kind of like getting plaque in your blood cells eventually, or in your bloodstream. It eventually could cause blockages. It's kind of similar in your brain where it builds up in your brain, and it has been linked to that memory loss and that Alzheimer's. So if we can help remove that with the turmeric, you'll have improved brain functioning and lower risk of that Alzheimer's. And then the next one, I know people will probably be really excited about this one, but is dark chocolate. So dark chocolate is packed with the antioxidant called flavonoid. And they've done some really good research on this, and they've found that those who enjoy dark chocolate regularly have improved memory, brain function, and more. They did even a study on short-term memory, and they found that those who enjoyed a piece of dark chocolate had much better short-term memory than those who didn't. So this is one of those foods that is obviously going to be a little bit higher in sugar and maybe calories, but it's something that could give you just a little bit of a health boost. But it's important to note that when you're doing chocolate, and if you're looking to eat chocolate for those health benefits, that you definitely want to do a dark chocolate that is at least 70% cocoa instead of milk chocolate or the white chocolate, because all the health benefits is going to come from that extra cocoa. But definitely something that is very good for your brain. And I call it mental health food too. It's okay to have just a little piece of chocolate at the end of the day, just to kind of finish off your dinner. And then some other foods that you might not have seen on this presentation, but that have definitely been linked to good brain health include pumpkin seeds, nuts, broccoli, coffee and teas have actually been linked to good brain health, oranges, and then green tea. So those are all foods that you might see if you're doing a little bit of research on foods that can be really good for brain health. These would also fall on that list, just didn't make it into my presentation. And yeah, so that's kind of all I have. It's a really, really complex subject, so I really tried to keep it very, very basic. So I definitely would tell you that this is not necessarily an end-all, be-all. There's other ways of eating, other foods that could be included in this presentation. So don't feel like this is the only foods that you should be eating. But you should be eating a well-balanced diet to help protect you from chronic diseases, and that includes those associated to your brain. The Mediterranean diet is considered one of the best diets, and there are also specific foods that you can help, that are linked to help maintain good brain health. And I'm going to really quickly go to this next slide. We'll save questions for the end, but if you guys want to jot down my contact or my email address, I know this was really fast and furious and kind of kept it pretty simple. So if you guys have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have. I will obviously answer questions at the end of the presentation, but if you'd like to reach out, this is my email, and you guys are welcome to reach out with whatever you guys have. I'll give you just a second to jot that down. And we will be sending out the presentation at the end of this, at the end of the presentation. So I will now turn it over to Miss Katie and let her talk about her wonderful, wonderful information. Katie, are you there?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hopefully, yes. All right. So thank you so much, Carly, for going over as quickly as possible, the things we can do to incorporate into our diet practices to improve our brain power, cognition. I'm a fitness specialist in BP's Houston office. I have a Bachelor of Science in Kinesiology and Health Promotion from the University of Texas at Austin. I'm a certified personal trainer and mental toughness coach. So this topic really hits close to home for me. So I'll just jump right in and we'll talk a bit about the brain itself. There is something you can do in the here and in the now that will have an immediate positive impact for your brain, including your mood and your focus. And that same exact thing, will help protect your brain from different conditions like neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's or dementia. And it can also improve your mood. So if you're feeling down or worried, exercise is that powerful tool that you can use to just get your body moving to have these long-lasting and protective benefits, not only for your brain, but for your body, and they will last the rest of your life. So there's a lot of science behind why exercise is so transformative for your brain. If you want to look at things like neuroplasticity, we are looking into rewiring injured nerves and brain cells. So this will help you to do things like tackle fear and tackle your stresses. So for example, what is usually on the other side of fear, whether it is your fear of, am I going to be able to finish this 5K without running? or something else. The other side of that is where your true, power and amazingness lies. You will build your confidence. Exercise has so many carryovers into your daily life. And as far as neuroprotection goes, so this is a bit more detailed. If you guys would like more information on this, I'm just going to keep it simple today, but you can definitely reach out to me. But the big point I want to make with neuroprotection is that exercising there's a lot of science showing the positive effects in delaying functional decay and neurodegenerative diseases. So these are things like I mentioned, Alzheimer's, dementia, even Parkinson's, depression, anxiety. So in addition to improving, cardiac and immune functions, which are what a lot of people immediately associate with physical activity, there's actually a multifunctional approach to it. So, building up basically not only the structures of your brain, but also improving the functions. So very preventative, and also helps to regenerate and restore your brain cells. So particularly the areas that we've seen a lot of research on are this prefrontal cortex and your hippocampus. So if you want to look at the prefrontal cortex, it's right behind your forehead, and it is super critical for things like your focus, your decision-making abilities, your attention to task, and even your personality. And the second area I wanted to touch on that there's been a lot of research behind exercise having a positive impact on is in the hippocampus. So you have two lobes in your brain, two temporal lobes. There was one on the right, one on the left, and deep in that lobe, in the temporal lobes, is the hippocampus, which is in charge of basically your ability to form and retain long-term memories for facts and events. So, people who do tend to or may be inclined be genetically predisposed to certain neurodegenerative diseases, exercise is a great way to increase your brain power and just keep you mentally charged. And then exercise is transformative. If you just get your body moving, you get your blood pumping, you'll improve that blood flow and the oxygen supplied to your brain. This helps alleviate things like brain fog or mental dullness. Getting that energy moving is a great way to just exercise your way to mental clarity. So I have on here different positive effects that have been demonstrated by in a physiological sort of span, such as increased heart rate. So with that increased heart rate comes more oxygen, more blood to the brain, aiding the release of hormones, growth factors. This goes back to the neuroprotective and regenerative aid of exercise. So this boosts not only your working memory, in the here and now, but it will also have a positive effect on your long-term memory, increasing concentration. So, for example, if you are just stuck, maybe you get writer's block, or you're just having that brain fog, sticking to a regular exercise program, regular physical exercise, will really help you come back to your desk refreshed and ready to combat whatever tasks you have ahead of you. Exercise has also been shown to help lengthen attention span and improving things like your abilities to multitask and to plan. So this goes for aerobic exercise, anaerobic exercise. It goes for all exercise. The most important thing is that you are getting movement in regularly. So exercise is powerful. Like I mentioned before, improved clarity. Whenever we are feeling, like maybe like, have you ever heard of the thing called runner's high? After you finish a run or finish some sort of exercise, you do have this feeling of happiness and just mental clarity, and it's real. You know, it's not just real for humans, but even in animal studies, there is sort of a psychoactive sort of receptor in your brain that there is this sort of pleasurable response and helps you not only to get through the task at hand, but to keep you in that sort of positive space for long term. Yoga, there's a lot of science behind the yogis' claim of the relaxation response. So things like stress reduction are associated with parts of your brain changes in the amygdala. Basically, people who do yoga for, say, for example, 8 weeks will report significantly reduced perceived stress. And if you want to learn more about the science behind this and the details, definitely reach out to me. I love going into it on it. We just unfortunately don't have enough time today. And this also ties into better mood. So less feelings of sadness, you know, less feelings of being down, and be better able to, you know, sort of be an effective approach that is not pharmacological to other sorts of issues that can be going on. Exercise is something you can do in the here and now to improve your energy levels. And, you know, along with the working on your body, naturally you will feel stronger because you are promoting, you know, these mind-muscle connections, and naturally you will have this sort of increased confidence, not only with your exercise, or with your body, but even, you know, since it will help you focus and stay on task longer, you know, you will feel better about your attention span or whatever projects you're working on. You may notice that, wow, I'm making a lot of headway with this. You know, I'm able to ignore these distractions around me or process maybe information that seemed more complex before. And my suggestion is really to try it all. The most important thing is that you find some exercise program that works for you. So, you know, everybody, all of us are only seeking happiness, you know, and our own sense of wellness. So if you have that compassion for your own self and your own body, you know, you can build on that journey through things like yoga, strength training, dance, Zumba, you know, running outdoors, kickboxing, Pilates, Tai Chi. And if you aren't sure where to start, our fitness center specialists have classes online that you can refer to that are totally guided. All you have to do is click play, and we have a huge variety of classes on there, including these and more. Videos are in length. You know, we have shorter and longer ones. If you just aren't sure, if you know, okay, I'm ready to start an exercise program, but you aren't sure where to start, you know, this will definitely help you sort of just refocus and get you on that right approach. So I like to repeat these types of things personally when I'm on my runs. I personally have been competing competitively in sports or been a competitive runner for as long as I can remember. And whenever was getting down maybe deep into my training, you know, I would just fill this blank. I am, and I would repeat to myself, I just had a list of words, you know, and it not only helped me get through maybe that wall that I was running, you know, trying to get through, but it also helped me, I noticed, in my day-to-day life, you know, and so things like, I am strong. Just repeat these to yourself, write them on a sticky note, put it on your mirror. This is a great example of an exercise you can do for yourself, for your brain, and for your body. You will feel better just repeating these to yourself. I know you're all on mute, so if you want to repeat them right now, you won't disturb the presentation. You know, I am strong. I am amazing. I'm inspired. I am determined. I am learning. I'm growing. I'm on fire. I am enough. All of these things are important to remind ourselves, because as we do, say you already are participating in an exercise program, but you've just kind of reached a plateau in your training. You know, it's so easy for us to fall into this sort of patterns of negative self-talk, but it is more work to think positively, but it is so worth it to catch yourself in that moment and approach the situation, you know, and think, is this really who I want to be? Exercise has so many parallels for your life. You know, you can rewire your brain with neuroplasticity to have these different patterns of behaviors. So as you repeat these things to yourself, whether you're doing it during your exercise, your physical activity, or whether you do it just first thing in the morning, you know, our brain gets these channels, these pathways, and it does trigger an immediate response to something. So with things like yoga, for example, when I began a yoga practice, I was also, you know, pulled into a meditation practice. And I think things focusing on these things like your gratitude, grit, and goals help you sort of overcome destructive thoughts, ideas, behaviors that can maybe be triggering for negative patterns or even anger. So having a gratitude practice, focusing on what your body can do. A lot of women in particular are afraid or hesitant to start a strength training program because they're afraid they'll get too muscly, and they're so focused on, you know, I want to lose weight. They're focused on these sort of calorie restrictive diets where they're not eating enough and they're exercising too much, and it's really not healthy for your body. And if you focus on how strong your body is, the dances, the beautiful movement patterns you can create, shifting that focus will help you to respond with compassion towards your body, and it will also help you in your day-to-day life. You know, squats, you know, squats are a great way for me to just get up if I'm feeling stuck on my work, and I'll just crank out 10 squats. And I'm grateful that my body can do that. Grit. When I say grit here, I'm referring to passion and perseverance for meaningful long-term goals. So these goals need to be important to you. You know, so maybe your goal is to, you know, drop 5 pounds. Well, why do you want to drop 5 pounds? Is it so you can move around better and play with your children? Maybe your goal is to improve your mobility, you know, the range of motion around your joints, so that you can, you know, play and move with your children around, you know, or just doing things in your day-to-day life in a way that is more optimal. And of course, along with grit comes resilience. That's only natural. And as you do things like maybe train for a marathon, you know, that resilience will definitely come as you learn how to master your mindset, and you learn how to sort of reframe adversity as a good thing. You know, we are surrounded by adversity on almost a daily basis. And if we can stay focused on things we can control, it will definitely have a positive impact on your brain, your cognition, and your overall feelings of wellness. And you know, you can achieve. Yeah, I just wanted to end with, you guys can achieve so much. You know, the sky is the limit. It really is. So things, you know, things you can do right here, right now, even just exercises that incorporate breathing patterns, you know, help you sort of push through and find your balance and stay strong as you connect to your breathing. You know, all forms of exercise are going to require you to synchronize your breathing with your movements. So, you know, in conclusion, I just want to say that the best kind of exercise you can do is the one that you will enjoy doing. You know, you have to stick with it long term. And it will help you. You know, keeping your body moving will definitely help things like melting tension and leave you feeling rejuvenated, refreshed, confident. You know, and really just focus on all of the positive things that you have the tools there. You know, as far as stress management goes, forms of exercise that, you know, are great for the summer, you know, are things that can get us outside. And maybe you're going to be in the shade, so, you know, get outside, get some vitamin D, you know, maintain a schedule, track your sleep, you know, and practice really try to practice mindfulness. So, you know, if you guys are looking for any more sort of resources or anything like that, please reach out to me or any of the other fitness center staff. You know, not all of us are runners or weightlifters or yogis, but you know, we are all here for you. There's no matter what you are interested in, one of us will be here to be able to guide you on that journey to wellness. There's so much to learn with becoming, you know, a faster, stronger athlete that transcends to other areas of our lives. And dedicating that time to yourself, to work on yourself consistently, will help you push past limits, not only in sports or in your athletic endeavors, but in your mental well-being and your cognition. So just like we practice, you know, proper warm-ups before we exercise, you know, practice proper priming, get into a morning routine, you know, prime your body and your brain, you know, for the work that's ahead of it. And at the end of our workouts, we always do a cool down. You know, we offer some type of recovery stretching. Same thing, get into an evening routine, you know, turn off the electronics. That's a great, you know, exercise you can do for your brain. Turning off your electronics at night, you may be picking up a book, doing a puzzle, do a Sudoku puzzle, what have you. Stay disciplined, and I promise you guys, you will break through any sorts of previous, you know, periods of stagnation and become the best version of yourself. So always put your best foot forward. You never know where your next step may lead you. Carly, do you want to open it up for questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I've kind of been trying to go through and answer some of the questions that I can for just some of the logistical things. So we'll just go through some of those real quick. So I've gotten this question a few times, if we'll be sharing today's presentation slides. Yes, we will be sharing them. We'll send them out to the distribution list, but then also we are recording this session and we will be putting that on the BP Fitness Center website. So if you guys want to review that, it'll also be available there.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes. Okay, so I have a question of what is a good serving for chia seeds? Chia seeds, since they are a good source of those omega-3 fatty acids, can actually can be more on the calorically dense side. So generally a serving size for something like that is about 1 to 2 tablespoons. Can you share more on where to look on the Mediterranean diet? And so one of the best resources I would tell you is Old Ways, and their website is oldwayspt.org. And that's where you can get a lot more information on the Mediterranean diet and jump into a lot more detail there. Is there a test that can provide info about the health of cells? I personally am not familiar with that, and I would tell you that might be something that you want to ask your doctor to see if there's something that they can run a test to try to give you a number on that, but I don't know of anything. Okay, how much turmeric is enough? That's another really good question. You know, there's a lot of supplementation that you can take. You can actually take turmeric pills, and that will range from anywhere from, you know, 900 milligrams to 2,000 milligrams. So I think that's another thing that if you're looking to supplement, maybe talk to your doctor, because there could also be interactions with different medications that you're on. But if you're just cooking with it, that would be another really good way to just get that extra boost of antioxidants. And I don't think you can really overdo it with that. Are there counteractive foods that you shouldn't eat with some of the other beneficial foods? For example, eating something with dark chocolate that counteracts the benefit. I don't believe that there is anything like that. There is interactions with things like medicines and certain foods sometimes, but I'm not aware of anything that would counteract the foods that we went over. Okay, I have decided to eliminate caffeine from my diet. I drink decaf coffee and tea. I guess this decision has negatively impacted my cognitive stability. I gave up caffeine because on the day I didn't drink coffee, I found myself with headaches and nausea. I wouldn't say that you that it's going to negatively impact your cognition. I just think that it's something that there's been linked to benefits in it. I think if it's something that you've eliminated because you're having adverse reactions, you're not necessarily going to, you don't need to start drinking it again for those health benefits. If you're eating a well-balanced diet and maybe including those other foods, I wouldn't worry so much about cutting out the caffeine and doing decaf. And even sometimes decaf coffee can still have some of those antioxidants from traditional coffee. So you might not be losing all of the benefits. Okay, is acetylcholine production also responsible for increased neuroplasticity? For adults, can neuroplasticity improve, or is most of this growth happening in early development stages? I might pass that one on to Katie. I don't think I have a good answer for that, actually.
Okay, guys, can you hear me, Riley? So I do believe that acetylcholine does have an effect on neuroplasticity in the human motor complex. It enhances that signal to noise ratio of input processing. But the foundation for neurophysiological sort of abilities to enhance cognition in humans, I'm not sure how well documented it is. We can definitely do some more research into it. But I do know that acetylcholine enhances that sort of synapse-specific excitability enhancement. So that might be like wordy for you guys. If you need to break it down, though, we definitely can. It will basically, the effects that optimizes the detection of relevant signals during information as you process information is what it will have an effect on.
Awesome, thank you, Katie. Okay, I think some of these are going to be more towards exercise, so I'll go ahead and read them for you, Katie. Only walking is okay, or do I need to do weight-bearing exercises for brain boost?
Okay, so walking is a great place to start. It's where a lot of people get their start off. Walking does have brain boosting benefits for sure. People that do walk every day versus people that do not are shown to have stronger cognition. However, if you do incorporate weight-bearing exercises such as resistance training with weights, whether they're dumbbells, kettlebells, or even just bands, you can order those online on resistance bands on Amazon or something for pretty decently priced. The shipping is not so expensive because it's not such a heavy material, but definitely I would encourage you to do both, to do weight-bearing exercises and walking. So maybe 2 days a week you do the weight-bearing exercises, and the other days of the week you walk if you aren't doing any weight-bearing exercises right now. I should say 2 days a week, because you'll be starting from not doing weight-bearing exercises at all. So going back to the goals slide that I had before, you want your goals to be reasonable, and doable for you. I wouldn't suggest that you get into strength training 5 days a week if that's not already part of your regular routine. We have to find what works best for you. And if 2 days, you feel great, after a few weeks of doing 2 days, definitely bump it up to 3. But I wouldn't say nix the walking. I would say definitely do both.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. Well, we got a few questions on turmeric. Okay, so I'll try to answer these both at the same time. So are supplements for turmeric, omega-3, a reasonable thing to do if you can't always source the whole food? Absolutely. I think that could be a really good idea. I kind of look at supplements as a security blanket. We definitely want to try to get the nutrition from food first, but if it's something that say you just really don't like fish, or it's something that you're a little bit worried about, supplements can definitely be a little bit more of a security blanket. So doing like a turmeric supplement or an omega-3 fatty acid supplement can be really beneficial. Good forms of turmeric to take. That I would have to do a little bit of reading. I know that there's a lot of products on the shelf. You would have to look in the supplement section. But I think just making sure that you're getting a good quality supplement and just probably doing a little bit of research into the manufacturer to make sure that you're getting a good quality product would be what I would suggest there. Can one get all the benefits of the Mediterranean diet as a vegan? Absolutely. The Mediterranean diet is, solely focused on fruits and vegetables. You're also trying to adhere to being a vegan. Do you know of any good supplement that contains choline? I don't. I want to say that prenatal vitamins might be adding choline because of that link to improved brain development in children. So I would definitely maybe look at a prenatal first. But then also eggs are a great source of choline, and then beef, seafood, salmon, shrimp, peanut butter, things like that would be another alternative if you're looking to get in enough choline. With turmeric, how much to take to be effective and how to prepare it? That one I think is just going to depend. I think if you're taking it as a supplement, do a little bit of research and talk to your doctor. If it's something where you're cooking with it, I think, about a tablespoon would be just right. And I think that looks like all of the questions. I hope I answered everybody's questions. If we didn't, you guys are welcome to reach out to me or Katie with any additional questions. Katie, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I just want to say that along with these, I do see in the questions somebody asked about the links for the exercise classes. We'll definitely be sure to include those as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for attending. We really appreciate your time. I know we went a bit over 30 minutes, but I hope you guys all enjoyed and benefited from the information presented today. We're both very passionate about this topic.
Yes, we are. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep an eye out for the presentations, and we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. Sounds good. Take care, guys. Be well.
Bye.
Bye.